Hi, welcome to Mom Talk episode 3. I'm Jen.
I'm Tanya.
And I've got a salted caramel hot chocolate.
And I have a tea that I forget the name, but it has something ginger in it.
Cool.
Yeah, it tastes yummy. Good. Except it looks like I'm just drinking cream.
Because it's fairly white.
Yeah, but I'm not. It's pretty good.
It's good. I was going to have apple cider, but then I ripped the package open and poured it in, and the crystals were like purple and all like really clumpy.
Oh,
so
fun.
I dumped the entire thing in the garbage.
Okay, so then you went with the hot chocolate.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes.
Good pick.
Yeah.
So how are you doing?
Pretty good. My cough is getting much better. I don't feel nearly as sick, so that's really good.
That is good. So, this week, well, this actually happens often, and I didn't know if this happened with other people, but timeouts. I put Mike on a timeout, and then I forget about him in his room. Or I am out somewhere and I say they need to go on timeout, and
when
then
you get home,
and and then I forget about it. Now my kids have been good. I usually say, which they haven't figured out, but if they remind me when we get home, I'll take a minute off their timeout. They have not figured out that if they just didn't say anything, I'd probably forget, completely.
The entire timeout.
Yeah, but that's okay. The other thing that I'm struggling with ongoing is I send the kids for a timeout, and then we're going to have our conversation, so I bring them down and say, okay, so why did mommy send you on timeout? And I'm really hoping that they remember, because I have totally forgotten. I don't. So yeah, so my, not even just my week. This is a weekly occurrence that it's
that this happens.
Yeah, that I forget my kids on timeout in their room, or I don't remember what they've done, or I say they have to have one. And I mean, it could happen more. I don't remember if I'm out and
it's really hard. I think it's a very common occurrence, and I struggle because I don't like some people do a timer, right? When the timer dings, then you can get off the timeout, which is great if that strategy works for you. I don't particularly enjoy that because I don't want the timer to release the kids. I want to release the kids. And so sometimes we set a timer, and then I tell them they can't go off until I go to them.
Yeah.
But I know Jack, he gets it in his head that if he's ready to apologize, he's off his timeout. Yeah. And so he'll just get up. I'm ready to say I'm sorry.
Yeah. But that's the almost 4. He's almost 4.
I know, it's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, we do set a timer because
otherwise you'd forget.
They'd be there till tomorrow.
Does the timer let them off?
No, the timer goes off because they can't hear the timer. So the timer is with us.
Good.
And it goes off, and then we call up and say, it's
I
time.
could set the timer on my watch. That's a good idea.
So then we say, okay, it's time to come down and have a conversation or whatever. But, it's helpful, or else I wouldn't remember. We'll set it even, on our phones or the microwave or whatever. But also the other thing is if they ask when their timeout is what is it called?
Timeout.
Thank you. Timeout is over. If they're like, can I come down? Is my timeout over? We add a minute. So, yeah. They only need about one reminder of that during the timeout when it gets bumped to 11 minutes, and then they don't ask.
Ask again. Jack also has this habit, if he's taking some quiet time in his room, anytime the door's shut, we have a baby lock thing, so he can't let himself out, but he tries to get our attention by banging on the door.
Yeah.
And there have definitely been occasions where we've had to send him upstairs for quiet time in his room, and then we forget. And then he starts banging on the door, and he'll be like, can I come out? And we'll be like, yes!
Of course!
Totally forgot.
Yeah, I get it.
So, have you done that? Let us know if you've ever done that, because, it's nice to know you're not alone.
Yeah, it's very true. Oh, TikTok. I have a video to show you.
You have a video to show
me.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I've been holding this back so that she hasn't seen it. So we were testing it out, and
I kept
she was plugging her ears, so she went. Anyways, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like I should just play it from
I wanna be where no children are. I wanna see some adult some food that is, what's the word again? I love my kids, but I also need to go to the bathroom unaccompanied. Out of this place, no kids in my face, part of that world.
Oh man, that hurts, mommy. That hurts, mommy.
Yeah, I thought that was a good one.
Oh, that's really good. I was gonna say at the beginning when she starts to sing, I really like that you could hear that there are kids in the background behind her, and like,
she's like
so
getting through that. Yeah, and that's just it. Like, we love our kids, but it's hard. Parenting is hard,
And the last 2 years has been particularly difficult.
Yeah.
Because they are just with you all of the time.
It's true. But okay, so we had a cool moment. I think I've shared on here that when Cadence was struggling and like kindergarten, and I had to remind myself of the attributes. Did I say that on here?
I'm not sure, but that's what you did.
Yeah, so she was just strong-willed girl, and it was very challenging when she was like JKSK. And I remember being so impatient and getting frustrated that I was like, to keep this girl's spirit, that I'm not breaking her spirit and what God has created her to be, I need to remind her of her attributes, but in turn it's reminding me. So every day before she went to school, or most days when I remember, I'd say, Cadence, like, well, I know, surprising, shocking. Cadence, you are so kind, and you have such a big heart, and you are creative and funny and loving. And it was a good reminder for me that God has given her all these gifts, and I need to value and see them in her.
Yeah.
Even though she's acting like a stinker and pushing buttons and being so stubborn, and you're just like, So we have done that with her, and she is fairly confident, and she can communicate her gifts quite well. Like that, she has a big heart, and she's creative and stuff. And I don't know if it is from that, but I think it started something.
Yeah.
So Micah, like, we have noticed things, like he likes to figure things out and different things, but I haven't caught him in a gift yet. I don't know if that makes sense, but Sunday we were coming out of church, and Cadence is reading scripture in a few weeks, so she had her special paper that she's been working on, and it flew out her hand in the wind. It was super windy on Sunday, and so the paper went flying, and Micah just reacted. He ran after the paper, grabbed the soaking wet paper, that it's fine, we'll print out another one, and he like brought it over, and I was like, in that moment I was like, yes, we caught him in a gift. So I was like, Micah, we found one of your gifts, one of your God-given gifts. We discovered that today. And he's like, you can see he's like getting all like, oh, and I'm like, you reacted. Something happened and you quickly reacted and responded instead of just like standing back. Like Cadence and I were just standing there like, oh, look at the paper. And he just responded. So it was really cool. And we really we're talking a lot on the way home about and Cadence was like, Micah, that's so cool. That's your gift. And so it was a really, really cool moment. And I mess up parenting a lot, but that was yes.
You felt so good in that moment.
Well, and
yes.
I just felt, I
good.
totally felt that it was God who set that in my mind at that moment of just, and moments before in the church, he's not listening and we're trying to get ready to go and he's kind of whiny and so it was just a really cool moment. I was extremely thankful again for me to be reminded of this treasure, this gift that God has given our family, but also to build that up in him because our gifts do come from God. And I want him to recognize that there's lots of people, situations happen and they freeze. Cadence and I were just watching. I usually respond in a situation, but in that I was like, well, it's just paper. I don't know. But he responded right away, and it was just a really cool moment.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it was a good moment. Yeah. So we wanted to talk about meal
planning. I am not the cook in our family. Scott is an excellent cook. He can just randomly open up the cupboards,
recipes,
I know,
gives her and make cookies,
throws things together.
Stuff.
Oh,
baking is science.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
He just add stuff and then it tastes so good. It's amazing. I don't have that gifting at all. So thank you to my husband. But my gifting tends to come in like having structure and
Planning.
order and planning. I mean, I fail lots in that area too, but it's definitely where I try. So what I have been trying to do is some meal planning freezer meals, and I have a couple of recipe books that I have that show you how to do batch baking, so you can like triple and quadruple and even more.
And it was kind of like after like lockdown was coming to an end, Scott was going back to work, and you're like, okay, this is the first time with 4 kids that both adults are out of the house, and I need to come up with a plan. So
Yes.
you took like I don't know how.
Might have been 2 weeks.
I think you did like 6 recipes one week and 6 the next, or something like that.
Like almost every day I was making like a couple of recipes.
But it's been helpful, eh?
Oh, so helpful. And at the same time, we also got a chest freezer.
Yeah.
So I was able to fill up the chest freezer with Ziploc bags of meals, and we have like 3 or 4 of every recipe.
And I've eaten some of the meals, and they're very good. I got to help out the one day, which was really fun, and we had a good time. It's nice to do it like with multiple people if possible.
Oh, yes, for sure.
And you've
especially
done that
when you're not a
before.
baker, like, or a cook or whatever, like it's really important. Every time I try and do this, I have to have someone else in the kitchen with me to keep me, to spur me on, because otherwise I get like halfway through and I'm like, I don't want to chop any more onions. So,
and she gave that job to me, which was a complete mistake.
Oh my goodness, she was like bawling.
Like sometimes it's worse than others, but I didn't realize until you the day before, I think, had cut up a bunch of onions, and she was fine. She's just chopping away. So I'm like, I can do that. And then you like asked me, and I chopped, and I'm just like, it was like
First
one
cut.
slice, and I'm like, oh no, it's starting. And then I'm just like, oh my goodness.
You'll be happy to know this though. So we got the week that we were in isolation for COVID.
Yes.
We had our HelloFresh meals arrived that week.
Yeah.
And so I'm like so sick, but I'm like trying to chop up the onion.
Were you
and
crying?
Oh my goodness, it was so bad.
Some onions are worse than others.
Well, I don't know if it was because I was sick or what, but it was so bad. I finally looked at Scott and was like, I have to go upstairs. 'Cause I was just like,
isn't it funny? Even
man.
okay, so like it wasn't quite, but like if you're crying even from onions, how it feels like you could quickly pivot to like emotional crying. Like, doesn't it? Like, I don't know, but I felt like that. Like, it was like you just, I don't know.
Anyways.
It's my body releasing the. I need to get it out, but
so so anyways, meal prep has been really great for me. And then what is kind of fun is now, so we have a chart, like magnets onto the fridge that has the days of the week, and then I can fill in what we're having for supper. And so I will tell the kids now, okay, Renee, you go downstairs and pick out a meal, and James, go down and you pick a meal. So we usually eat 2 of the freezer meals a week, and so then they get to pick them out, and then I just fill them in on the right days, which is really cool. So, because I've never been one, like, I did what do you call it, like at-home exercise program thing, which was really great, but they were really big on, like, Sunday you prep everything, and I was not good at that. I was definitely not good at, like, prepping all my fresh meals and, like, making everything proportion and everything. Yeah, I was not good at that. But doing it like a few months at a time. So I planned Scott was going back from paternity leave, and I have from January till March break until I have another break.
So the March break you're going to be, so I'm coming over to do one?
We can. I actually have quite a few meals left over.
Oh, really?
Like, really over planned, I guess.
That's good. So how long do you think it would get you through till?
I don't know, maybe Easter. So I'll probably cook some more at March break anyways.
But maybe not as many as you did on Christmas time.
Plus, it was really expensive. However, it's a big expense up front. But then when I'm buying groceries, I don't have to worry about buying, like, meat, right? I just buy lunch stuff and a few quick meals for nights that we're rushing.
Right.
But it's really, really handy. Where before I was constantly overbuying because I'd be like, like, I don't have any hamburgers, so I'm going to buy, like, a ton of hamburger because it's on sale. And then my fridge is just full of hamburger. Where now I'm like, oh look, it's you
Yes.
know, like this meal and that meal.
See, and
it's all
I'm
done.
like I actually have the books as well, but I have not done that. But I think even like just like, and I can't see myself doing it. I would love to, but I can't really see myself doing it. But I think even just starting to like, oh, like have that thing on my fridge of like what we're gonna have in the week would maybe be a good step in the direction that is helpful.
Oh,
but
that was definitely our first step, especially
Yeah.
because Scott is the cook, but I'm the planner. He would
That's true,
and he would often
That's
get
true.
home before me,
That's
and
true.
he wouldn't
didn't
know
know what
what
you
to
wanted,
do.
yeah.
And so having that
That's
on
really
the
good.
board, he'd be able to go and say, "Oh, it's chicken nuggets and fries tonight. Sweet!" And
Yeah.
he'd get it started, so that when I would get home,
That's very helpful.
it was already in the oven.
That's helpful.
Yeah,
But then it would take time for me to like go to the freezer and actually find out what just, you know, all of that.
it's
but
all
it is
of
good.
that. Yeah, this has definitely been like habits that have been in the making for
A
like
long time.
a very
Yeah.
long time, like
Cool.
small little steps.
Very
And
cool.
We celebrate the small little steps.
Exactly. Exactly. For sure. So our time is going so quickly.
Quick again.
It always goes very quickly. But we wanted to end today with a quirk that we have about ourselves. Did you want to go first or me?
No, you're gonna go first because I forgot to prep, so I'm gonna think while you go.
I will draw out the process for 20 minutes while
But
she
what I'm gonna
thinks.
end up doing is listening to you.
And then you're
Still
gonna
not
have to.
picking something.
Okay, so my quirk, I don't know. I just thought of it this week because I did it. But if I am standing, like if I put something in the microwave, and I am waiting for it to heat up, and I'm right there, I never let it get to 0. I always open up the microwave when it's like at 7 seconds or 2 seconds. Like, I don't know why. If I walk away, it's okay. But if I'm standing there, I'm like, why? Because then I even have to hit reset or whatever. Like, what's the
What are you
point?
saving?
What's the point?
That's funny.
But that's what I do. That's a quirk of mine that I'm just picking up on. That I was like, this week, why is that? And I'm like, I do it a lot. I
Interesting.
don't know. Yeah. So what do you think? Do you want me to tell you some quirks?
You probably
I don't know
should.
if I have any. Let me
I'm
think.
sure I have lots of quirks. It's definitely difficult to like. I think of myself as being
Ooh.
fairly self-aware, but I'm not sure about
I don't know if this is a quirk, but I found it very funny, is that we were going to go to a hockey game, and Jen is saying we need to pack up, like everybody get ready, and Scott, because he was doing photography, so he had like a time, like he had to be there, and Scott and the kids, it's like, okay, get ready, and Jen decides to clean out the microwave.
that. I do this all
We're
the time.
microwave people. She decided, and I'm looking, and I was like,
No,
Jen,
and it's not just
I
the
was like-
microwave. Whenever it's time to leave, I'm always
You
like, this
do a
thing
project.
has to be done. And so I just start doing it. And Scott's like,
Yeah, and-
why are you
yeah.
doing this?
And Scott said that. He's like, this happens all the time. And I'm just like, Jen, why are you starting to clean the microwave? But I think Brian is like that a bit.
Is he?
Yes, because, yeah, there's, well, not maybe when we're leaving, but there's so many times where, like, we, like, have to get something done, and he starts in on something, and I'm like, why do you have to do that right now? Like, this, like, the kids are heading up to bed, and now you're taking apart that, and you're the one that tucks them in. Like, it just, stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
so
no,
that's
I've
interesting.
often, like, I've actually thought about this before because Scott has definitely brought it to my attention. But I've often wondered if it's part of, like, the ADHD, like,
Maybe.
or, I don't know, maybe anxiety because it's something that I can control and, like,
Maybe.
makes me feel,
Maybe a
like,
bit
instant,
of
when
a-
everything, like, all the chaos is going on, I can feel good about, like,
Getting
keeping
the microwave
clean.
clean for when I come over and heat up something and
then
take
open
it
the-
out at 3 seconds
I
left.
definitely open up the door on the microwave early, but not consistently. Like, I'll stand there and let it beep. You not so much.
Consistently.
Anyways,
I don't know.
So, do you have any quirks that are really funny and are just bizarre?
Not even funny, just kind of like, oh, weird. Could be
Why-
weird or like,
Why do you do that? Why do I
or-
do that?
The best would be as if, well, I'm sure it would happen, is if people like out there like, I do that with the microwave too. And like, yeah, that would be fun. So, wow. time just flies. That's
Just
amazing.
flies.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed hanging out with us.
Yeah.
And hopefully we will see you again next time on Mom Talk.
Bye.
Bye.